Why be easy when you can just die? Woo! I'm Chewy Mew, and welcome to my channel, but more specifically, welcome to another Chewy Mew video, where today we're going to be taking a look at a custom, using a body, the ToyBiz Marvel Legends Urban Legends box set, Daredevil, and the custom that I made was the Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly, in this costume. Red paint is the scourge of humanity for me, because this looks pink. So it wasn't an issue with my phone camera, of my old phone, because when I made my custom red suited Spider-Man figure here, using the black suit Spider-Man body from Spider-Man 3, the spider on the back looked pink. Now it looks red because I had to repaint it very aggressively, and my other phone made it look completely purple. And now this part looks kind of pink, which is kind of dumb. I really don't know what's going on here, because in real life it looks like lighter red, but it doesn't look pink. And this part looks a little pink too. I don't know why. But either way, yeah, this using the body of Daredevil, it's not identical to the Urban Legends Spider-Man figure, but it is a little bit kind of close. You know, to the uneducated nerd, they might think this is the same body, but it actually is quite a bit different as far as the design goes, if we straighten out all his joints here. But yeah, the biggest difference is obviously the hands. Yeah, so here are his hands. These are his hands that are sculpted to hold his weapon. And I swapped the hands out for the hands of what's it called? Spider Sense Spider-Man. Because unfortunately my Spider Sense Spider-Man broke and had some damage to it. I tried making a custom and it failed miserably. So I've been slowly using his body parts for other custom figures. Like I used his hands to make a custom, for my custom Peter B. Parker. And I used various body parts of his to make other figure customs. And what this guy got, he got his hands. And they actually do have joints now, because the original... Oops, that hand comes off, though. That's kind of the only issue here. So the original hands were locked in a position, and this hand was just a open palm like this, where now it has a flipping hand, which I did show this off when I showed off my custom Fearsome Foes Spider-Man figure. Have a hinge on this hand, so now you can make a fist and it can open. Then I put joints, and this part just keeps coming off. I might have to find some other way to do it. And I just noticed, looking at this figure, I didn't paint the web shooters. And, bang, there we go. So I repainted the red parts on the figure, or I repainted the parts to not look pink in the camera. So yeah, it looks pretty good there. I gotta wait for this to dry and then I'll paint the web shooters. Oh dear, I almost spilled the paint on my lap. To maybe improve the hand. And I have these Crafters Collection 10-piece micro sponge brushes. I got them at Hobby Lobby. They were like $2. Yeah, so they're for ideal for fine touch-ups, fine detail, and hard to reach areas. So I'm using these ones, which honestly they kind of suck. And I'm gonna see if I can use this as a pin for the hand. So I'm gonna cut off the very tip of the ball joint. A lot of the stuff I use for customs are just actual tools that most people don't use, because you know what, if you risk using box cutters not box cutters, what's that called, wire cutters, and you chop off like a figure arm somehow on accident, you're gonna be looking pretty screwed, if we're being honest. So I'm gonna put the camera down here. I gotta stick this into the pin in the wrist, or into the hole on the wrist, and then stick it through his hand. And then when you hinge the joint, it does hinge. Okay, so yeah, that works. Cut that off here, and then we can cut the other tip over here off. Which, it is a lot better and a lot tighter compared to that other pin, which I think I just dropped on the carpet. Or no, it's right here. It works a lot better than this pin, because this is the ball joint ends, which aren't compatible with this hand. And that is painting the web shooter. So let's... The problem is silver paint sucks in general. I don't think I've ever had silver paint that worked good, so some parts the red just bleeds through, which kind of sucks. These web shooters are sculpted out of clay, So I've made this custom, and also, spoilers, also a Ben Reilly custom in his more Spider-Man looking Spider-Man costume. In order to make that one, I did sculpt the web shooters out of clay as well, and I feel like those ones came out a little bit better. I think both of them look pretty good. They look different though; they don't look the same, but I think both of them look pretty good. And the ones on these hands look good as well. And like I said, custom hands here. The fingers don't go down all the way, but also this isn't even meant. These hands aren't meant to do this pose, so I feel like I can't really be picky here because that's not really possible. As far as this head sculpt, this comes from the Hasbro 2008 black suited Spider-Man from the Spider-Man Classics wave. So this figure actually wasn't, or this head sculpt wasn't mine, a figure that I owned. But one of my friends, he had that black suit Spider-Man. So he had the black suit Spider-Man, and the figure broke. It broke. I don't want it anymore. Do you want my figure? That's not how he sounded though. And so he gave me the figure, and like I used a lot of the figure for fodder. I think it was missing like most of the arms. I think it's missing like some of the chest pieces. And he gave it to me, and I was like, okay. And so then I customized it and made the head sculpt for this guy. There's some black or red paint on there. Some parts of figures just don't take paint, so that's what the head sculpt was. It was the black suit. I also like his more McFarlane kind of eyes. He has like the huge eyes that the white part curls all the way back here. It doesn't have that look, but I kind of like this one still. And then also these straps came from a extremely situational place, and that was from the ToyBiz a tentacle attack Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2, where inside of his tentacles he had a gimmick that when you flick a button on his back, his tentacles pinch like this. And I took apart the figure to make custom tentacles, and inside he had these wires which when you press the button, the wires would pull the tentacles so they would close. And the gimmick didn't work, and since I took off the tentacles, I cut these out. I was like, hey, I can use these for the Scarlet Spider custom, so I hooked them on here. And then this hoodie, which I think the spider logo on the back came pretty nice, despite having this big crease in the middle of it. And the spider logo on the front looks good. It is a little bit more at an angle, and some versions show as a really tiny logo on the top of his chest over here. But I kind of like having this generally the bigger version of the spider. I really like that. And so yeah, so that's where these came from. And these pants, or this top part actually came from some old jeans. So then I made this piece, and it kind of works because it's stretchy. I can't remove this shirt without having to take off his arms here and the head and stuff, which I'm not going to bother doing because it's just Daredevil underneath, so, you know, whatever. But yeah, so, and the reason I use jeans is because jeans are, and so these jeans were kind of stretchy, so I just used them here, and it fit on really good, and it fit on tight. The only problem is he doesn't have a usable hoodie, and has this weird neck chunk, but just because the way I made it, there was no real way to have this not look like this. And also, he doesn't have the hoodie on the back, which I think it's okay. If I feel like it eventually, I might go back and make a hoodie for him. Probably not, though, because honestly, I don't remember seeing him using the hoodie much. This here, on the other hand, this belt was made out of dried clay. We basically just take a long strip of, not dried clay, dried paint, or I just took a strip here, super glued it around the waist, and it doesn't block any articulation. The waist is tight anyway, but it doesn't block it, and also the hoodie doesn't block any posability either. I didn't paint the Daredevil stomach, which it's not really super noticeable, but yeah, it doesn't block posability or anything. It still moves good. It doesn't block the armpit joints. They still work. So he does have this fabric hood. The only negative of having this on is that when you bend it, the fabric does get a little bit wrinkled. And then for the belt buckle here, I used another piece of dried paint, put it on here. I didn't make the belt or the straps or like the web shooter looking things on his belt, just because I couldn't find a way to do it effectively without it looking way too bulky. For the legs, I cut off Daredevil's strap here, and it's still noticeable. And I tried sanding down these straps, and it didn't work right. But you don't really notice the straps. I mean, you do notice these, but it's not super noticeable. Then for the boots, these are pieces of fabric which came from the same pants. This was like the belt loop, or the like, you know how the pants have those little straps on it that you stick the belt through. I used that part, painted it brown. I drew like a silver line to look like the pouch handle. And then these pieces came from a wrestler figure I got from Goodwill that was in a bag that also included the Scuba Spider-Man and that Spider-Man Classics Series 1 Venom. So I used the strap from like his gloves or something, and then I put the strap together, super glued it to the pants. Now he has his web shooter pants, or web shooter pouches. One thing I did see on eBay, it was of Ben Reilly where you get his hoodie. I was thinking, oh hey, I want to buy that. Then I realized, oh no, it's $24 for a tank top. It was maybe like 10, I might buy it, but for 20 bucks, that's a bit expensive. I could buy this figure on eBay for that much. I could even probably buy some pants. Maybe, I don't know, pants are expensive these days. As far as the other stuff goes, I just painted, you know, just painted this red. The red that I used was called Candy Apple Red, which it is Apple Barrel Multi-Surface Outdoor Indoor Paint here. The reason I specify the name is in case you want to make this custom and stuff, you know what specific color I want. But honestly, because in the comic books, the figures the characters are so stylized that it's hard to really tell what color everything is exactly. You know what color he is, but when it comes to, like, in the comic books, you don't know, is he dark red, is he light red, what kind of red is he? Because depending on the panel, he sometimes looks different. So I kind of just went for, like, I took Daredevil, which was this dark burgundy color, like this you see on his waist. And then I just took my red paint, and I very sloppily just kind of slapped paint on this, so that he does keep some of the dark burgundy in his costume here. You see some joints here and stuff have burgundy on them. On this part, the paint rubs off just because the way I had to install these. I had to put these on first and then do the paint. Or no, I had to paint it, then put these on first, because the first time I tried painting it, it just got on this, and the paint did not come off on these straps, so I had to repaint it. As far as articulation, it's basically identical. You know, you still get head joints, you get rotation here. Also, the way I attached this head was I took a fodder figure here. I think this was from the brown costume Hasbro Spider-Girl. I think it was one of her knees, which I used her other knee to make a ball joint neck for Sinister Six Spider-Man here. And so that's what I did here, and then I super glued it on. I made sure it was correct size so I could fit it on the Daredevil pin. I sanded down the pin as well. Come on, there we go. And then the shoulder's still the same. You can move them all the way around, butterfly joints. You get these weird, like, ankle joints, or no, shoulder joints. Rotation here, double bend, rotation here. Hinge in the wrist, and now an additional thwipping hand on a hand that usually was just static. Rotation in the waist. You get an ab crunch that goes forward and back. I don't want to move it too much because I don't want to damage that. The legs kick up pretty decent. They don't go back much. You can do the splits with this guy. Thigh rotation. Double bend in the knee. Rotation here in the boot. The foot goes forward and back. The toe bends up and down. And then he does have a slight ankle pivot, which I'm thinking of. I might cut off some plastic to make these ankle pivots work better. But for the most part, I think this custom looks good. I'm proud of this custom. I feel like my customs lately have been more advanced, more complex. Like, kind of like my my custom Spider-Man the Weird, where head sculpted from scratch, sculpted chest piece, guns on this guy. I didn't make the trench coat or the hat. Those are from other figures. But yeah, I feel like my customs generally have had more detail and more work put into them, instead of just being like, oh, I'm just going to paint this color. I'm just going to, like, super glue this to it. You know, like my custom Prowler, like, involves some sculpting, a brand new head sculpt, a wire cape. You know, a lot of my customs now have been more advanced and more detailed, I guess, more work put into it. But yeah, so that's pretty much all for this video. Let me know what you think about this custom, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Wow.